Hello there and welcome back to my channel. It is no secret that the end of the school year is crazy. And as a teacher, you're experiencing a roller coaster of emotions. You're excited that summer is almost here, but you're also sad that your students are leaving your class. You're really proud of what your students have accomplished throughout the year, but you're also overwhelmed by all of the end of the year activities.
I'm not overwhelmed, Pam.
So in today's video, I'm gonna share with you 5 ideas for easy, little to no prep end of the year activities to save your sanity. Plus, I even have some freebies for you. Before we jump in, little disclaimer. You do not need to do all of these. I'm giving you 5 just as ideas, and really within those 5, there's multiple ideas, but do not feel pressured to do all of them. Pick and choose what works for you, what makes you excited, and what you think your students would like. We're gonna jump right in with idea number 1, crafts and projects.
Oh my God, no.
Before you start freaking out, hear me out. Not all crafts and projects have to require a lot of prep. They can be simple. When it comes to projects, a lot of them can be done paper and pencil or digitally. One of my favorites is doing a memory book with my students, and specifically, I love having them reflect on what they've learned throughout the year by coming up with something different for each letter of the alphabet. If you are interested, I do have a What I Learned from A to Z memory book template in my TPT store. It is a new product. There is both a paper and pencil version that you can just print out and give to students to work on and decorate, but there also is a digital version through Google Slides that you could assign through your LMS. With this type of project, what I love is there's a lot of options. You can have students each create their own memory book, or you can assign each student a different letter and then assemble one big book together as a class, or you can have students work on it in groups. Another great project is having students design a dream vacation. This is great leading into the summer, and you can incorporate a lot of the different skills and knowledge that students have gained throughout the year. I personally don't have a template for this, but I know there are tons online that you can find and use. And a final project I always love for the end of the year is giving my students an opportunity to become the teacher. They would either work independently or in groups. They would choose a topic that we learned during the year from any subject area, and they would choose a day to present. They would then spend time creating their lessons and their activities, and they would get to be the teacher for that lesson. Students love it because they get to become the teacher, and it's not a lot of work on your part. So that is a great low prep activity option as well. Now, when it comes to crafts, I always tend to lean toward crafts that do not require a lot of prep. I like the crafts where I can just open up my craft cabinet and say, go to town, have fun. But I don't have to actually prep anything in advance. When I taught 4th grade math, one of my favorite crafts for the end of the year was creating your own mini golf course. I typically did this at the end of our angle unit, which was towards the end of the year, and my students would create a themed mini golf course based around incorporating certain numbers of angles. So they had to have a certain number of acute angles and obtuse and right angles, all of that. But it was always fun to see the different themes that they came up with. I even had a group one year come up with a Pocketful primary themed mini golf course, which was just as adorable as it sounds. But with that, I just opened up my craft cabinet and I'm like, here's some craft sticks and some beads and construction paper and glue, and I just let them go to town.
We have fun. We just have fun.
But another great option is having your students create their own board games. They can choose a topic from the year in order to review through their board game, and once again, they can have a theme for it, make it whatever they want. But the great thing is students get the practice when they're creating their board game, but then they also can play each other's board games, so they get additional review as well. And speaking of games, activity idea number 2 would be games. Now, when I say games, I don't just mean academic-based games, although there's great options for that. You can also do games that are just fun with your students for the end of the year. But if you are looking for something academic-based, escape rooms are perfect. In 4th grade, I did a pirate-themed escape room in order to review all of the math topics for the year. It was a ton of fun. My students really enjoyed it, but I will say it was a lot of prep. It was a lot of printing and laminating and putting things into folders. So feel free to use a digital escape room. Most digital escape rooms are run through Google Forms or Google Sites, and all you have to do is send your students the link. You can find pre-made digital escape rooms on like TPT or other websites, and all you have to do is assign it, so it takes all of the work off of your plate. But when it comes to not necessarily academic-based games, some of my favorites are, first of all, homeroom games. When I taught 4th grade, we were departmentalized, and my students spent most of their time in their block classes, so with their reading teacher and their math teacher, but we didn't have that much time as an actual homeroom class. So my team teachers and I decided to start doing the homeroom games. My students would stay in their homeroom classes all day. We assigned each homeroom a different color to wear, that way they all kind of coordinated and matched, and then we would participate in different games throughout the day and we would keep score. Now, some of these games were academic based. We typically would have one that reviewed different topics and skills and things from throughout the year, but we also had just fun activities for them to participate in. We typically did a Who Knows the 4th Grade Teachers Best? We would do a Finish the Lyrics game. We would do like a tug of war and the hula hoop, rock, paper, scissors. Hopefully y'all know what I'm talking about. If you don't, Google it. It's a super fun game. But we would compete in these events all day. We just created a set of slides to kind of explain each one. We would keep track of the points, and at the end, the homeroom teachers would we typically gave them ice pops, and then we'd all meet in the hallway, figure out which group won, and we would just get those like cheap plastic medals or those little plastic trophies. You can get them from Amazon or places like Target in the party section, and we would give that to the winning class with a little award ceremony, so it was always a lot of fun. Now, if you are looking for a completely no prep fun game for the end of the year, you have to do memory charades. Your students can think about different fun memories that they have from throughout the year, and they can take turns acting them out, and the rest of the class has to guess. Once again, it's a great way to kind of reflect on those memories, but also have fun. Now, when it comes to like last week of school, specifically even the last day of school, I always love to do minute to win it games. These typically used very minimal supplies. It was things like cups and ping pong balls and craft sticks and cookies. We'll come back to that, but it was great for my students to do once most of my classroom was packed up because I didn't need a lot for it. Now, you can find little tutorial videos for these games on YouTube, and then they do have like minute to win it countdown timers. So there's not a lot of prep on your part, and I've actually already put together a set of slides with some of my favorite games. I have the materials needed for each game listed, I have the tutorial videos, and I have the countdown timers. I will link that for you down in the description box as a freebie. So if you want to do some minute to win it games, you can make a copy of those slides, and of course you can go in and edit any of them as needed. Typically, I had my students work in teams. I would show them all of the games we were going to play, and they would have to decide who on their team was going to do which game. So only one member of each team was participating in each game. Depending on how much time you have or want to kill with minute to win it games, you can have students do it individually, or you can have them kind of do it in groups. But some of my favorite, definitely Face the Cookie. It's where students would put like a sandwich cookie in Oreo on their forehead, and they have to use their face muscles to move it down and catch it in their mouth without dropping it. I did this even back with my 2nd graders, and it was always hilarious. I also love It's a Bit Dicey. They would put a craft stick in their mouth, and they have to stack 6 dice on the end in one line. But lesson learned, use a plain craft stick, not a colored craft stick, because it will dye their mouth. Hard lesson learned. Activity number 3 is some sort of a countdown. There are so many variations of countdowns that you can do, so I'm gonna share just a few ideas. First of all, I love doing an A to Z countdown. I started doing this back when I taught 2nd grade. Basically, you're gonna count down the last 26 days of the school year, and each day corresponds to the letter of the alphabet, and it has a different activity or theme. So for example, A could be Animal Day, and your students get to bring a stuffed animal with them. B could be Beach Day, and maybe they're gonna bring a beach towel, or they're gonna dress in tropical clothes. Now, I know the hardest part is trying to come up with the different themes and whatnot for all of the days, so I have put together a freebie for you. I already have activities and themes. I kept them very simple for every letter of the alphabet leading up to the end of the school year. I have a printable version and then also an editable Google Slides version. All you have to do is write in the dates. Of course, with the Google Slides, you can change any of the days if needed, but the link to that freebie will be down in the description box for you. You also can do a paper chain countdown, and you can do this for any number of days, whatever works best for you. Basically, you're gonna cut a piece of paper into strips. On each strip, you're gonna write a different fun activity or theme, and you're going to tape or staple them together to form a paper chain. You can hang that up somewhere in your classroom, and then each day, typically I would do this like before the previous day ends, so that way they know what the activity is for the next day. But you're just gonna rip off one of the papers and then you have the theme or activity, and once again, it gets students excited, and as the chain gets shorter, you know that summer is getting closer and closer. Another variation of this is a balloon countdown. So instead of using the papers to create a chain, you can actually roll them up, put them inside of a balloon, blow up the balloon, and then you can tape like a number or even just use a Sharpie and write the number on the balloon. And you can display these on a bulletin board or somewhere in your classroom. Each day, you're gonna pop the balloon and read the fun activity inside. Now, for all of these, I recommend doing activities that are very low prep. So having your students wear some kind of fun outfit, bringing a stuffed animal, having them read outside, extra recess time. That's a great option. It doesn't have to be some intricate themed day. And one last variation of this countdown would be doing a student countdown. So however many students you have in your class, that's when you would start the countdown. So if you have 25 students, you would start 25 days before the end of the year, and each student would be assigned a day, and that kind of becomes their special day. Maybe they get to pick where they sit for the day, or even sit at the teacher's desk. The rest of the class is going to share things that they love about that student. You can write them down or do some sort of special activity so they have a keepsake to be able to take home with them. Moving on to activity number 4, doing some sort of awards. I love doing awards. It's just a great way to celebrate your students at the end of the year, and it allows you to show what you kind of learned about that student.
Diabetes award goes to Stanley Hudson.
Now, I go big on my award shows, okay? I typically send an invitation so it feels very official to my students. I will play some Oscars music, which I just grab off of YouTube. And sometimes I would even lay out a red carpet, which was really just red, like butcher paper that I got from the art room, but it always made students feel like super fancy. Now, there are so many different themed awards out there. You got your emoji awards and your Bitmoji awards. My personal favorite was always to do candy awards. And yes, I dressed up as Willy Wonka. I do have an entire vlog about this. I did it the first year that we went virtual, so I will link that vlog for you. But essentially, I just got some outfit pieces off of Amazon to make myself look like Willy Wonka. I got dressed up. I had some little candy pieces that I put on my wall at home. I played candy themed music like Sugar Sugar. It was wonderful, okay? I sent home a golden ticket in advance, so my students kind of had an idea what it was gonna be, but they didn't know exactly. And then each student's award was somehow correlated to candy. So for example, like the Hershey's award for being as sweet as chocolate. I forget exactly how it's worded, but I picked these awards based on my students' personalities, and I added in my little Bitmoji to kind of fit it, and I would give them whatever candy matched their award. If you are interested in the candy awards, I do have them in my TPT store, so I will link those for you. But keep in mind, you don't have to give the actual candy if due to allergies you're not able to. That's fine. You can always just print out the certificate. I always love printing it on cardstock and then laminating it or putting it inside of a page protector so it was that much more durable. And if you don't want to be in charge of actually choosing students for each award, you can have your students vote on them. And then whichever student won for the different categories, you could do the award ceremony to kind of reveal it. And finally, activity number 5 is a party, which I know, depending on your school situation, you may not even be allowed to have a party, but your party for the end of the year can be very simple. Personally, I love parties for the last day of school because let's be honest, your room is probably pretty empty at this point. Your desks might be stacked up, your chairs might be stacked up, your students are coming with no backpack, or they're coming with a very full backpack from everything that's been crammed inside their desk all year. Anyway, regardless, students are too excited to do anything really but party.
Let's get the party started.
Let's get the party started.
So, when I say party, I mean we'd watch a movie, okay? Or like a slideshow of pictures that I put together from throughout the year. I typically had my students bring a towel so they could lay on it in the middle of the room. I would pop popcorn or just buy like those pre-popped bags of popcorn, and we would just enjoy a movie. This was always great because it gave me time to be able to finish cleaning and organizing and packing around my room. But if you do want to incorporate more food, I always love doing a little ice cream party, because who doesn't love ice cream? But here's a hack for you. Do not get those big tubs where you have to sit there and scoop it out. No, 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 horrible decision. Buy either the little mini cups where it's already a single serving, or my personal favorite, ice cream sandwiches. Each student gets an ice cream sandwich, they put it in their bowl, you give them a little whipped cream, they get to choose their toppings, bada bing, bada boom, you're done. The great thing is, I know Target carries like dairy-free ice cream sandwiches, so even if you have students that cannot have dairy, there are options, but it just makes it much easier. Okay, that is it. All of those different things I mentioned, like the What I've Learned from A to Z memory book, the Minute to Win It slides, and the ABC Summer Countdown will be linked for you down in the description box. I hope this gave you some ideas for the end of the school year and made your life just a little bit easier. If it did, please give the video a thumbs up. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. As always, thank you for watching. I love you so much. Don't forget to put your positive pants on, and I will catch you in the next one.